All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into what is basically the blueprint for success. We're talking about performance metrics, but not as, just boring numbers on a spreadsheet. No. Instead, let's treat them like an architectural plan, a design that can either build a massive skyscraper of achievement or, well, a pretty fragile house of cards. Let's just jump right in with a fundamental question. I want you to really think about this for a second. We all feel busy, right? I mean, the endless stream of emails, the back-to-back meetings, that to-do list that just seems to keep growing. But does all that frantic activity actually move the needle? See, the difference between just being busy and being truly productive, it often comes down to one critical choice: what you decide to measure. And this is the core problem we're tackling today. It is so easy to get seduced by vanity metrics. Think social media likes instead of actual customer conversions. These numbers might look impressive, sure, but they can send you sprinting in the completely wrong direction. It's not just ineffective, it's actively counterproductive. It's kind of like running a marathon with incredible speed, only to realize you've been going the wrong way the entire time. So how do we avoid this trap? Well, we start by thinking like an architect. We're going to build a solid framework for measurement, a blueprint that makes sure every single metric we track is a core, load-bearing part of our structure for success. Okay, first things first, let's lay the foundation with a super clear definition. A performance metric is basically a vital sign for a specific process in your business. But, just like a doctor needs a whole panel of tests, not just your temperature, to make an accurate diagnosis, we need to figure out which vital signs truly show the health of our projects and which ones are just noise. And believe me, it is a vast world out there. There are countless things we could measure, but the real skill, the architectural genius really, lies in knowing that not all measurements are created equal. Some look forward, some look back. Some just count things, while others, they tell a story. Choosing the right one, that is everything. We can basically organize this entire world of metrics along two critical spectrums. First, are they leading or lagging indicators? And second, are they quantitative or qualitative? Understanding these two pairs is the first step to becoming a master architect of your own success. All right, now let's put these metrics on the scales. We're going to weigh their strengths, their weaknesses, and see exactly when and where to use each one. This is where all that theory becomes a practical toolkit that you can start using like today. So what's really cool here is the analogy. Think about it like you're driving a car. Your leading indicators, that's your dashboard, and the view through the windshield. They're predictive. They tell you your speed, your fuel, what's coming up ahead. Lagging indicators, on the other hand, they're your rearview mirror. They tell you exactly how far you've come and what you've passed. You absolutely need both to get where you're going safely and effectively. And this shows their distinct jobs perfectly. You use leading indicators, like, say, the number of product demos you've scheduled, to make proactive adjustments. If those numbers are down, you can jump in and do something before the quarter ends. Then you use lagging indicators, like your total quarterly revenue, to confirm if your strategy actually worked. One lets you steer the car, the other tells you if you arrived at the right destination. Okay, our next spectrum is just as important. Quantitative metrics give you the what. These are the hard numbers, right? Website visitors, units sold. They're objective and super clear. But qualitative metrics, they give you the crucial why. This is the story behind those numbers. Things like direct customer feedback or notes from user interviews. You see, one without the other is really a story half told. Okay, this slide right here is our master blueprint. It puts everything together, so let's just quickly walk through it. As you can see, leading metrics are proactive, but yeah, they can be hard to measure accurately. Lagging metrics, on the other hand, are very accurate, but they're not going to predict anything. Then we have quantitative metrics, totally objective, but they often lack that critical context. And finally, qualitative metrics, which are deeply insightful but can sometimes be a bit subjective. The big takeaway here is that you need a balanced portfolio. The real magic happens when you pair them up. For instance, using that qualitative customer feedback to finally understand why you saw that sudden dip in your quantitative sales data. That's the good stuff. So now that we understand all the different types of building materials, how do we choose the right tool for the job? How do we go from this architectural theory to actually making a decision? It all comes down to this simple but really powerful three-step framework. First, you have to be crystal clear about your core objective. What are you truly trying to achieve? Second, identify the single most important activity, the key driver that's going to lead to that outcome. And third, select a metric that measures that driver directly. Here's the key insight. Don't just measure the outcome, measure the process that creates it. And this classic quote from Peter Drucker, it just says it all, doesn't it? The very act of measuring something changes your focus and your behavior. That's why being so intentional about this is incredibly important. When you choose a metric, you are literally choosing what you and your team will manage, what you'll focus on, and ultimately, what you will achieve. And my final piece of advice is this: resist that powerful urge to measure everything. Real power comes from focus. For any given goal, identify the one metric that matters most. This is your North Star. It simplifies everything and aligns everyone's efforts, and it stops you from getting lost in a sea of distracting, totally meaningless data. So I'll leave you with this thought. We've laid out the architectural plans for meaningful measurement. We've looked at the different materials and the framework for how to build with them. Now, the question is yours to answer. What is the single most important metric, the cornerstone, that's going to support the success you're trying to build? Choose wisely. Thanks for joining me.